Good morning, students. Today we will be discussing about reproductive system of Phyla globosa. Myself, Dr. Balram Sai, Assistant Professor in Zoology, Government Dunga College, Bikaner. Reproductive system of Phyla globosa. In Phyla globosa, the sexes are separate, that is, dioecious, and there is a definite sexual dimorphism. The cell of the male is usually smaller in size and less swollen than the female. There is a well-developed copulatory organ in the male, but it is quite rudimentary in the female. Reproductive system of Phyla globosa is divided into two categories, that is the male reproductive organs of phyla and female reproductive organs of phyla. Today's lecture will be focused on the male reproductive organs of phyla. Male reproductive organs of phyla consists of testis with its fine vasa efferentia, vas deferens with the vesicula seminalis and the terminal glandular part of the vas deferens, penis with its sheath, hypobranchial glands. Now we will discuss each part in detail. Testis. It is a flat, plate-like whitish structure, more or less triangular in outline, situated in the upper part of the first 2.5 to 3 whorls of the cell. In the picture you can see, this is the testis. It is whitish in color and more or less triangular in outline and situated in the upper part of the first 2.5 to 3 whorls of the cell. It lies closely attached to the digestive gland along its upper and inner or columnar edge and is separated from the cell by a thin cutaneous membrane. So this is the digestive gland. On its upper part lies the testis. The cream colored testis is easily distinguished from the digestive gland, which is brownish or dirty green. So the digestive gland is brownish to dirty green in color, whereas the testis is whitish cream color. Minute ducts, the vasa efferentia, lead downwards from the different parts of the testis and may unite with one another before opening into the vas deferens. Here you can see tubular parts from the testis arise and they unite to form the tubular part of vas deferens. Next is vas deferens. From the posterior end of testis arise a thin vas deferens. Here you can see this is the testis, this is the digestive gland, and thin tubular part of vas deferens arises. It consists of three distinct parts. First, the proximal thin tubular portion leading from the testis. Next is the vesicula seminalis, and next is the thick glandular portion which opens into the mental cavity near the anal opening. The vas deferens starts from the posterior end of the testis and runs immediately beneath the skin along the inner or columnar edge up to the posterior renal chamber. So, vas deferens consists of three distinct parts. First, the proximal thin tubular portion leading from the testis, then the vesicular seminalis, then the thick glandular part. Here you can see in the picture. This is the terminal part of vas deferens, which runs immediately beneath the skin up to the posterior renal chamber. This is the male pore, this is the anus, this is the rectum part. Vas deferens then turns to the left and on reaching the level of the pericardium turns upward and to the right to open into the vesicular seminalis on the ventral side. Here you can see the vesicular seminalis. The vesicular seminalis lies to the right of the pericardium, immediately below the line of junction of the anterior and posterior renal chambers. It is slightly curved and has a flask-shaped appearance with its posterior blind end broadly rounded. The vesicular seminalis opens on the left side into the terminal glandular part of the vas deferens. In the mental cavity, the vas deferens lies closely attached to the left side of the rectum and ends in a prominent claw-shaped structure, the genital papilla, having the male genital aperture a little behind the anus. So, this is the male genital pore just behind the anus. Next is the penis sheath and penis. The edge of the mental bears on its inner surface a thick glandular flap of yellowish color. Here you can see this is the penis sheath and this is the penis. The flap is attached on its right side but is free on its left. Its edges are slightly rolled in to form a spout-like sheath, penis sheath for the penis. So this is the penis sheath covering the penis. The penis is a long and stout flagellar structure as seen in the picture. Long, stout and flagellar structure about half an inch long, arising from the attached right side of the flap of the mental. It is seen as slightly curved structure lying within its sheath. So you can see the curved structure. It is swollen at its point of attachment but gradually tapers to the free tip. Here you can see it is a swollen structure but gradually you can see it tapers to the free tip, bearing a deep groove all along its length on the inner surface. The penis is capable of extension. Next is the hypobranchial gland. At the base of penis sheath is an oval hypobranchial gland. This is the hypobranchial gland, which is oval shaped. It consists of tall cells containing the small basal nuclei, and the surface of the glandular area is somewhat pleated, but there is no duct and the secretions of the gland cells are apparently poured directly on the surface. Next is the types of sperms in phyla. The spermatogenesis of phyla globosa has been worked out by G.P. Sharma, D.L. Gupta and O.P. Mittal, and they have reported that the spermatozoa of phyla are of two kinds. First is the eupyrean sperms and the second one is the oligopyrean sperms. These will be discussed in detail in the upcoming slides. First is the eupyrean sperms. The eupyrean sperms are hair-like, having an elongated spirally twisted nucleus with a small conical acrosome in front and a mitochondrial middle piece behind, followed by the end piece in the form of a long vibrating tail. So this is the eupyrean sperm. This sperm can be divided in three regions. First is the head, then the middle piece, then the tail. The axial filament springs up from the proximal centrosome in the region of the middle piece. The axial filament is ensheathed by the mitochondrial material, but in the end piece the filament is naked. You can see in the middle piece the axial filament is ensheathed, whereas the mitochondrial in the end piece is naked. This is the tail region. Now, a very important thing about eupyrean sperms is these sperms move actively forward in a spiral course measuring about 25 micron in length and 1.2 micron in breadth, and they can only fertilize the eggs. So, eupyrean sperms are capable of fertilizing the eggs. Next is the oligopyrean sperms. Oligopyrean sperms, on the other hand, have a very sluggish and serpent-like movement. These are the oligopyrean sperms, again divided into three parts, that is the head region, then the middle piece, then the tail. These sperms measure about 30 to 2.5 micron in length and 3 micron in width, and they cannot fertilize the eggs. These are probably having some secondary function. The acrosome in the head region is poorly developed. The nucleus is elongated, broad and curved, but not spirally coiled. The middle piece is short and the number of axial filaments varies from 4 to 8. So, the two types of sperms, eupyrean sperms, are capable of fertilizing the eggs and show active movement, whereas the oligopyrean sperms are sluggish and show serpent-like movement, and they cannot fertilize the eggs and have some secondary function. That's all in today's lecture. In the upcoming lecture, we will discuss about the female reproductive system of Phyla globosa. Thanks a lot.